up, YouTube? So I decided to do a Q&A because I haven't done one since like last fall. I'm not gonna give too long of an intro to this, but I will say that I did split this up, or I plan to split this up into 2 videos. So this one is gonna be like my personal life type questions, and the other one is gonna be more like fitness, probably social media, stuff like that. I'm only doing 2 videos because I haven't done a Q&A in so long, and there was a ton of questions, and there were really good questions that I really just wanted to answer, so that's it. I'm gonna hop right in right now. Also, Nacho is like perusing around the room, so if you see a cute little gray cat walking around, I'm sorry. It probably will distract you because she's so cute. Now, I got this question in like a million different ways, and I thought that I talked about my school enough to where people would know what I'm doing, but apparently a ton of people didn't even know that I was in school, what I'm in school for, whatever. So the question is, what are you in school for? So I'm in school right now for ministry. It's not like a 4-year college or anything. It's a specialized 2-year school that's specifically like a Bible/ministry school. You would go to a school like this if you were preparing to go into ministry one day. I actually took the first year of this school back in 2011, 2012. And I would have taken my second year at that time, but at the time, the school was in Texas, and my husband got transferred to Michigan for his job currently at the church. So I couldn't stay in Texas to complete my second year. I had to come back to Michigan, and they haven't had the school in Michigan up until this last year or so. So now I can finally complete my second year, which is the year that I'm in right now. I can't even focus when she is in here, but if I kick her out, she's gonna cry. Can't win. But yeah, so I'm in the end of my second year right now. I graduate officially at the end of April, the beginning of May. I have less than 7 weeks left till I'm done, and I cannot wait. What are your plans after you get your ministry degree / when are you done with school, and what are you going to do with your degree once you finish? So this schooling, you don't actually leave with any kind of degree. Crazy, huh? But like I said, this school is for people who know that they're called to ministry, and so you go here to be trained for ministry. So I think this is how it goes. I think that after the end of the 2 years that a student is in ministry school, the school / my church will kind of decide if they believe that you're ready for ministry, or if they believe that you kind of have pulled yourself together enough to be like kind of qualified to be an ordained minister. So anyway, I have a feeling that at the end of these 2 years, I will be licensed and ordained, or one or the other. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between being licensed and or ordained, but my husband currently is in ministry. He's a licensed and ordained minister. He works full-time as an on-staff minister at my church, and I've talked with my pastor about what my husband and I plan to do in the future, and we all kind of know that my husband and I plan to be in ministry in the future, so I'm assuming that I'm gonna end up being ordained at the end of these 2 years. But if someone decides that they don't think I'm ready, that they want me to serve on staff somewhere like without pay, or they want me to do something else, then I'll do that. So yeah, that's kind of like all the information about my schooling that you guys asked repeatedly, is like those questions. So I feel like this is like a bonus to the video because she's just, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, what's your greatest accomplishment thus far? It's hard to say what I would credit as my greatest accomplishment so far. I guess what I would say was my greatest accomplishment was probably competing in the bikini competition that I competed in June of 2015. And I only say that because it was probably physically the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like, it was so hard. Just dieting perfectly for like 6 months, working out usually 2 times a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Towards the end, I was doing literally over 2 hours of cardio a day, and I was on like 30 grams of carbs or less a day for like months. None of it was healthy. Don't do anything I just said. But the fact that I like made it through that and like didn't mentally break down 100% is a big accomplishment to me, because I definitely can be kind of a whiner. Like, I just know that about myself. I can be whiny. It's something that I don't like about myself. So competing in the bikini competition like kind of challenged the parts of myself that I really, really don't like the whiny, complainy, short temper, short patience type of like personality traits that I have. It challenged all of those, and it made them like, it made me more patient. It made me more physically stronger and mentally and emotionally stronger. Like, it just did so many awesome things for me. And it's funny because I still to this day like kind of wonder if I really should have done it, because there were a lot of other repercussions because of that show for me, like mentally and emotionally and even physically. But as it stands, I would say that's probably one of my greatest accomplishments that I can think of. Will you ever get a dog? What kind would you want if so? I have wanted a pug since like before I was born. I love pug dogs more than anything. They're the cutest dog, they're the funniest dog, they're the funniest looking dog. I want a pug. But I think that they're pretty high maintenance, and I know that they have like more affinity for health issues And what I've learned with this little girl right here is that when an animal has a health problem, I do not handle it well. Like the fact that I can't like comfort my animal with like human words and be like, it's gonna be okay. And also the fact that their health problems cost me money. Girl, no, I ain't about that. And dogs are more expensive than cats. They're more expensive to purchase. They're more expensive to take care of. With our cats, we can kind of just like come and go as we please. If we disappear for 3 days, we just have to fill the food bowl really high and we're good. If we go away for a week, we just have to make sure someone stops by like 2 or 3 times to make sure they're not dead. Dogs are a lot more temperamental. You have to bring them to like a doggy hotel and you have to pay money for that. So I'm paying money for me to go on vacation and my dog to go on vacation. It just feels wrong. And the few times that this cat has peed in my house or pooped in my house, listen, I almost killed it. I almost killed this cat. I am really crazy about the cleanliness of my house. And not to say that my house is always clean because, I mean, you guys have seen it's not always clean. But if something other than me makes a mess, oh no. But I do really want a dog, so I don't know. That's my really long spiel of if I'm gonna ever get a dog or not. I do also like dachshunds. You know, like little hot dog doggies. Pretty much anything small. Yorkies. Chihuahuas, no, Chihuahuas are awful. Unless you have one, then they're the best. I remember in the past you would talk about how you would sit on your balcony and drink coffee and spend time reading daily and praying. Could you talk a little bit about exactly what you do to start your day? I actually haven't done this in a long time. I mean, I've been in school, so my morning starts at like 4 or 5 a.m. now. But what this person is talking about is that before I was in school, when I just worked from home doing my online personal training business, I would go on my balcony and do my devotional or like pray, read the Bible, things of that nature. And even now I do it. I just haven't been on my balcony because it's freezing. I'll do it in my room or in my second bedroom. I have like a couch in there. A lot of people asked about what I do in that devotional time to kind of help me connect with God. And honestly, I used to be really like fanatical about having like a checklist of things that I did every day. Like, okay, I have to pray for 10 minutes. I have to pray for all these people. And then I have to read my devotional. And I have to make sure that I do like the critical thinking questions at the end. And then I have to make sure I read 2 chapters in the book of Psalms. Like I was really like fanatical about it because I just want to make sure I did stuff. Because if I went into my devotional time without having a plan, I always felt really like scatterbrained. And I didn't know what to do or to say, like, what am I doing here? And then like 40 minutes would pass of me just like flipping through my Bible and I would be like, all right, well that ought to do it. But I guess now I'm a little bit less rigid about it and I kind of go into my devotional time, kind of first of all setting a time, how much time I'm gonna spend there. Like, and then I look at the time that I have and go, okay, so what do I feel like I need right now? Sometimes I need the structure of like a devotion that has like a start and a finish and it talks about God and it teaches a little lesson. Sometimes I need that because my brain is like, it won't focus. Other times I feel like I need God, like I need God's word. So I will go to one of my favorite books in the New Testament and I happen to know the books of the New Testament so well that I know if I'm looking for a specific subject, I kind of know which books to go for. But I know I do spend a lot of time in general in like Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, James. I love them all. But yeah, a lot of the books, especially like Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, those are really short books. So you actually could read the entire book in like 10 minutes. So I like that too because then I can read a whole book and feel kind of like that sense of accomplishment, which I'm finding it's not so important for me anymore, but like in getting the habit of spending time with God, that sense of accomplishment was really important to me. So I recommend finding something that you can start and finish in like a specific amount of time to make you feel like you're making progress. I know it's not all about how you feel, but like I feel like it's easier to build that habit when you feel like, all right, well today I did my devotional. Today I read all of Galatians. Otherwise, just go in knowing that you want to spend time with God, knowing that you're devoting this time to God, and just do what you want to do. If you just want to talk to God, then just talk to God. Like, it doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be some weird thing. Like, God knows you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a super informal person when I talk. So sometimes I go to God and I'm like, yo, God, this is the worst. Or whatever, you know, like something that's like super Lynette. Like, why would I ever come to him and be like, dear, most precious, holy, sacred Lamb of Jesus? Like, I would never talk like that to anybody. God knows who I am. I don't have to be all spiritual and weird. I just have to talk to him, and that's all he wants is just communication with you. You're not trying to prove anything to God. You're not trying to like make up for lost time. You're not trying to do anything. God just wants you to spend time with him. So just spend time with him. All right, I'm preaching. I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm in ministry school, right? It's gonna come out sometimes. Favorite books / authors. All right, so for starters, I'm gonna start with a book that I talk about all the time. Mostly I feel like I talk about it on Instagram Live because I feel like every time I have an Instagram Live session, which I have, by the way, most Fridays at like 7 to 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time, check it out. But I feel like I get this question all the time when I'm doing Instagram Live, and it's what's my favorite book, or what's the book that's helped me the most with like anxiety or like overthinking or like fear, things of that nature. So my answer is always going to be Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. I don't actually have the book with me, but I do have the study guide and the devotional. That's how much I like this book. So Battlefield of the Mind, the subtitle is Winning the Battle in Your Mind. And it's basically just about like kind of like the mental battles that go on in your mind on a daily basis, especially if you are someone who's kind of prone to overthinking or kind of like torturing yourself with certain thoughts, either thoughts of the past or thoughts of your mistakes or fear of the future, like just kind of like the inner turmoil that you go through with your thoughts back and forth. This is a book that kind of addresses that from a Christian perspective, and I swear reading it changed my life. And a lot of people that I've recommended this book to have said the same to me, like, holy cow, it just made me realize a lot of different things about my thoughts and where they were coming from and how I could kind of control them. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. Just get it. You can probably get it so cheap on Amazon, like used or something. Just get it and give it a try. Literally my favorite book of all time. How did you become so secure with yourself? I find myself struggling with loving myself and feeling happy. So this is one that I ask myself all the time because I used to hate myself. I hated me, and I hated how I looked. The time that I hated my appearance the most was a time where I was like really lean and fit, and I had like blonde hair. Like I look back at those photos now and I was like, dang girl, you had it going on. Like what was your problem? But I literally couldn't see it. I hated myself and I hated my body so much that I literally couldn't see it at all, that I was attractive, you know? And I hated so much of myself because in so many ways I had just internally failed myself and disappointed myself to where I just lived in frustration with myself, and I lived in discontentment and disappointment. And I did not know how to be okay with myself and to like myself despite those failures. But I also didn't realize that I was very self-sabotaging, and I would sabotage my own efforts to do good things for myself. And so in doing that, I was hurting my confidence. I'm sure that there's a million other things that contributed to my lack of self-esteem and just hating myself, but I think what it took to go from that to where I am now, where I do genuinely like myself, and I definitely don't think I'm unattractive. Like this is gonna sound bad, but I never have a day where I don't think I'm an attractive person. Not that I'm the most attractive person that ever lived, but I don't feel ugly. And I guess it's just because my physical beauty just doesn't really have the power to upset me that much anymore. Like even when I go like a week straight with like not putting any makeup on or not doing my hair because I'm like out of school or whatever, I don't feel bad about myself. Or even now, you know, like for the last 18 months, I've been anywhere between 10 to 20 to 25 pounds heavier than I would prefer to be. And in the beginning of that, like 18 months ago, I really hated my body, but in the last year, not at all. Even now, like knowing I want to be 10 pounds lighter than I am right now, I don't hate my body as it is right now. I just would prefer it smaller. You can want better things for yourself without hating where you're at right now, just so you know. You can learn to be content. And so I don't know, I wish I had a better answer for this. I don't know if it just was something that came with age or something that came with accomplishing different things in my life and realizing that I was a capable person. But the biggest thing I can say is you gotta watch how you talk to yourself. If you are constantly putting yourself down in your head, you will never feel good about yourself. I don't care how beautiful you get. I don't care how skinny you get or muscular or whatever the heck it is that you want for yourself. No matter how many amazing things you do, if you don't stop talking down to yourself and talking poorly about yourself to yourself, you will never be happy. That's one thing that I made myself stop doing, was I said, you are not gonna call yourself names. You're not gonna call yourself stupid. You're not going to verbalize to yourself how disappointed you are in yourself. You are going to cut yourself some slack. You are going to be kind to yourself. And when I started practicing those things, even though for a long time I used to tell my husband this all the time, I felt like I was patronizing myself. Like I felt like I was being like, oh, good job, Lynette, you failed again, way to be. Like I felt so stupid being nice to myself when I did stuff that made me so mad. But over time, it just like changed how I treated myself, and therefore changed how I thought about myself. I no longer was annoyed by myself all the time. I no longer thought that I was worthless and stupid. My appearance started meaning way less to me because I realized that it basically had nothing to do with how successful I was in most of the things in my life. So yeah, hopefully something in there helped you. When you first started your YouTube fitness channel and Instagram, did you notice friends not supporting you? Do they still follow you, or do you just not pay attention anymore? super awkward when I first started my fitness Instagram. So I started posting fitnessy stuff on Instagram in like really early 2013, I would say. And my closest friends for the most part didn't really say anything about it. They didn't really comment on it. And as time went on, they commented less and less. And like, not all my friends, some of my friends were like, oh cool, like go you, like you're getting into shape. But then other friends like wouldn't say anything, or they would just like ignore the fact that I was doing this thing. And I don't want to just assume it was because they were intimidated, but some of them have come to me later and said I was kind of intimidated by the fact that you were like getting so good at fitness and like transforming your body. Some of them have said that, but then others I think were just like not interested. They were just not interested in fitness, and so they didn't have any comments for what I was doing. And I just posted about this on Instagram the other day about how it did suck when I first started posting fitness stuff on Instagram, because I did have a lot of people unfollow me that I knew in real life, like people from my high school, people that I knew in college, people from my church, like people basically, I don't know exactly why, but just people started unfollowing me. And I wasn't even posting like me in a bikini or anything. It was just like my selfies of me at the gym when I first started working out, and people would just unfollow me, and it really hurt. It really, really did. And I would like talk to my husband about it and be like, maybe I should stop. Maybe this is really like self-indulgent and self-obsessed. Like maybe I don't realize how pathetic I look and how like I look like I'm crying for attention, which really was not it for me. I was just so excited about fitness, and I'd seen some other girls post about fitness stuff on Instagram, so I was like, I want to do that. But of course, my husband, being like the most level-headed person I've ever met in my life, was like, if you want to post about it, then post about it. If people don't like it, then oh well. What does that have to do with you? And I was like, you're right. So I just kept posting stuff, and there was kind of like an overhaul of who was following me on Instagram. It went from being mostly people I knew in real life to mostly people I did not know in real life. But the people who started following me were people who also were into fitness. So it just took a little bit of time of being patient and being like kind of having like thicker skin, realizing that like people are just gonna unfollow me. That's just how it's gonna be. If they're not interested in what I have to say, or if they're intimidated by the fitness stuff, or annoyed by the fitness stuff, like they have a right to be that way. And if they don't want to follow you, then they don't have to follow you. But if you want to post about something, if it feels good to you to share that part of your life with the internet, then freaking do it. That's what I did. And I would say that it has paid off. YouTube was kind of even worse, because I feel like here I was now like live on the internet posting videos, and a lot of my friends were not watching. In fact, most of my best friends today still don't watch my videos. Like my best friends from like high school, and like, you know, like the top 5 homies that you have in your life, girls that were in your wedding, stuff like that. At least half of those people don't watch my videos. But I also just don't take it personally anymore. Like 2 or 3 of my best friends, they're just not into fitness. Another one of my best friends is into fitness, but vlogs are not her thing. She's just not gonna be the kind of person that watches YouTube. So I just don't take it personally that those people don't wanna watch me on YouTube. Like, they're friends with me, they have other stuff going on. Like if one of my best friends had a YouTube channel about like repairing cars or something, I probably wouldn't watch it. Or even if she had a vlog channel about her life. Like I'm not a huge YouTube watcher. I don't watch that many people on YouTube, and I don't want to. So I can't say with certainty that I would watch my best friends on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I just don't take it personally if they don't watch my YouTube channel. And that's what I gotta say is, if you're gonna get on Instagram and YouTube in general, honey, you better thicken your skin right up, because people are gonna be mean and people are gonna say stuff, and you just have to get over it. Did that sound mean? That was kind of mean. But it was real though. All right, last question so that I can wrap this up, because I'm sure this is super long already, but how do you take care of yourself when anxiety feels like it's taking over every aspect of your life? Do you have any type of self-care routine? I've wanted to make a video about this for forever, but I've not actually said this before on YouTube, but I was diagnosed with GAD, which is Generalized Anxiety Disorder, back in 2014, and I've gone through a lot of different things since then to try and cope and try and manage anxiety. And I have learned so much about what anxiety looks like for me and how it manifests in my body and in my mind. And it really manifests on different people in different ways. So it's hard to say that what works for me is going to work for you. But what I have found works for me, first of all, is spending time with God. I can't say that that is what you're gonna feel like is right for you, but for me, my anxiety is based on feeling out of control and just the fear of the unknown. But bringing myself close to God, who knows everything and is in control of everything, brings me some peace that I know I couldn't have otherwise. Like, I personally will not ever be in control of every aspect of my life or the people around my life. There are many things that can hurt me in this world, but spending time with God, who I know loves me and has my best interest at heart and is always going to protect me, being able to put my faith in Him by spending time with Him, reading His word, praying, that definitely is kind of like what I do proactively to keep anxiety away from myself. And the times that it still comes up, breathing techniques, I know a lot of people say that that's bullcrap, but breathing techniques actually have worked for me. I worked at a kid's clothing store one time with a lady who used to work with prisoners on death row. So she worked with people who had crazy anxiety just because of the predicament that they were in. And she taught me some breathing techniques that have just helped me since that time. And it's basically just counting my breaths. Like when I feel an anxiety attack coming on or I'm in a panic attack, counting my breaths, it's just something that I can control. You know, you breathe in 4 counts, you breathe out 4 counts, or you breathe in 6 counts, you breathe out 6 counts. Like just counting that and controlling that to me kind of like brings me back out of a panic attack. But there's a million things that I could say honestly, but spending time with God is what I do proactively to prevent myself from getting too anxious. Breathing techniques are what I kind of do in the moment of like panic, and then after panic attacks, or when I'm just in a place of anxiety where I'm not necessarily having a panic attack, but I just feel the pressure of anxiety like on my chest. Like it physically for me manifests in my chest where I feel like my chest is closing in and I can't breathe. This is gonna sound kind of ridiculous, but watching something funny or just doing something that makes me laugh. I have found that when I am super duper anxious, if I go like watch Jenna Marbles on YouTube, or I go turn on a comedian who just makes me like bust a gut laughing, you cannot be incredibly anxious and be bust a gut laughing at the same time. Like you will get relief from your anxiety, at least for those few minutes when you are laughing. So go find a way to laugh, whether you have a friend who always makes you laugh or your boyfriend or fiance or whoever. Like I said, for me, it's like Kevin Hart, the comedian, like super grody humor, but like he cracks me up, dude. And Jenna Marbles, those two people, if I'm watching them, like all bets are off. I feel anxiety up until the moment that I'm watching them, and then after I'm done watching, I still feel a little bit anxious. To have those few moments of relief, to me, kind of gets me through and like refreshes me a little bit to where, like, I don't know, if anxiety is like on a level 10 and then I'll watch something funny, anxiety after that is at like a level 8. Like it just comes down a little bit and it just helps me. And laughing at stuff, first of all, what it does for your brain chemically is amazing, like the endorphins it releases, what it does for your immune system. Laughing is like the greatest thing that you can do for yourself health-wise. But yeah, so those are like a few of the things that I do to kind of manage my anxiety or deal with my anxiety. I don't know if that's like a routine, but yeah. I feel like I've progressively gotten closer to the camera as this video has gone on. I'm sorry. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video if you stuck it out through this whole thing. The personal Q&A is always my favorite because I like to talk about myself. Is that weird? I don't know. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another Q&A and also other vlogs, because this is a vlog channel where I put up videos of myself doing things, okay? Alright, bye!